Are you a mum looking for some parenting inspiration, tips and advice, stories on the ups and downs we face in our lives as parents, some humour and a little bit of fun? Then you may have just found what you're looking for. Hi and welcome to the Parenting in the Thick of It show. I'm your host Louise Clark, a certified parent coach known to many as your parenting partner. As a mum to 3 teenagers, you can bet I've probably been there, done that and heard it all. Trust me, there'll be few things that I haven't experienced firsthand. I created this podcast because I just love to help mums like you find ways to navigate life in the thick of it and find a way out of it. Episode 506. My teen wants independence but acts irresponsibly. It can be so frustrating to listen to our kids saying, "Mom, just give me more independence. You're so strict on me. You curb my freedom. You don't let me do this. Everyone else's parents give their kids way more freedom and way more independence, but you don't." And in your mind, you're thinking, well, if you just acted a bit more responsibly, then I'd be able to give you more freedom. And then you'd feel like you were more independent. It's such a difficult thing for these kids to understand that with freedom comes responsibility. When they're responsible, when they act responsibly, we perhaps will give them the freedom, will allow them to be more independent. But they will also want to be independent, but they don't have the skills yet to be independent. They're still dependent on us. So how do we strike the balance? How do we speak to them about it when they're not happy with us because we're not giving them the freedom that they want? We have to discuss it with them, and we have to discuss it in a way that we are not criticizing them, not judging them, not making them feel like they haven't got it yet, that we don't want them to feel that we think they're irresponsible, but at the same time, we know they don't quite have the skill sets to take full responsibility for something. So if they are not being responsible enough, then we have to give them age and stage appropriate responsibility. So we have to give them the chance to prove themselves to be responsible, but in situations that are not too challenging, but are challenging enough. And then if we have given them the freedom to act responsibly and be independent, but then they don't listen to the limits. You've said to them, okay, you want more freedom, you can come home a bit later tonight. Normally you have to come home at 10. We're going to say you can come home at 11. So we're giving you more freedom. We're giving you independence. You're going there and you're coming home on your own, so you'll be independent. But you have to be home at 11. And they don't come home at 11. So to help them understand this kind of with freedom comes responsibility, there has to be a consequence for coming home later than we collaborated on. So they have to understand that if they come home at 11, if we say come home at 11 and they are responsible and come home at 11, we're going to give them more freedom. But if we deliver that message in a kind of patronizing, well, you're the one that wants to be independent, but you're the one that can't come home on time, with that kind of energy behind it, it's going to go nowhere. And this is what I speak to all the time in my private client work and in my group coaching work and in my courses, all the courses that I have, and I speak to it so much in these podcasts, is that we have to show up in a way that is conducive to our kids learning and developing the life skills we want them to develop. So we have to give them a little bit of responsibility so they can test whether they can live within that limit, whether they can come home when you've said, and whether they can be independent. Can you leave them and can they make dinner for themselves and put the plates in the dishwasher? Can they get themselves up on their own in the mornings, make their lunch, pack their bags, and get to the bus stop and take public transit to school? Could they phone the orthodontist and make the appointment and go and see the orthodontist. Now that would be inappropriate and irresponsible of me if I had a 13-year-old. But, I shouldn't say 13-year-old. There will be some 13-year-olds who are more than capable of phoning an orthodontist, making the appointment, and getting on the bus to go and meet the appointment and being responsible and being independent while they do it. But you have to know you know your child better than anyone else. You know whether they are responsible enough for certain tasks. If you believe they are, you have to give them the responsibility. And this came around, the idea for this topic came around because I was speaking to a parent in a one-on-one session, and we were talking about allowances and finances. And, she was saying, should I give them an allowance? And I mean, it's not for me to say whether I think you should give your child an allowance. What I would like to do is to stimulate your thought process around allowances. What do you understand by the term allowance? I want to, I'm in a position where I can give my kids an allowance, but I want them to be fiscally responsible. So if I give them an allowance, I have to teach them how to budget for things. I have to support them and lead them to knowing how to spend their money so they have enough for a rainy day, that they know if they blow it all on one hoodie, they might not have enough for a Subway sandwich next week. So we have to give them the opportunity to be responsible and give them the opportunity to be independent. And in the event they don't, there have to be consequences. Or there has to be more guidance. Or they prove they're not quite responsible enough, not quite independent enough to be able to do X in this moment. So what can I do? How can I support them to learn the skills they need to be responsible enough to do X and be independent in doing so? So I was talking with this client about allowances, as I said, and she said, but what if I give him an allowance and I give him, all he needs, all that he might spend in a month in terms of for clothes or office supplies for school, for notebooks, for the odd Subway, whatever it is you want to give them. If you give it to them all at the beginning of the month, the fear is they spend it all and then have none left. And I said to her, that's a very real fear, and we hope they don't. But I would hope that if my kid's going to do it, I would rather they do it while they're living at home with me, rather than when they're on their own at college and it's not quite so easy to get them the money. It is easy now with all the transfers we can do. But, again, we have to give them the skills to be responsible. And then from that, they feel they have the independence and they feel like we manage them less if they're able to manage their own things for themselves. In episode 503, I spoke about this, and 504. So all the episodes this week, actually, bar in the last couple of weeks, bar 505, which is what our kids will remember of their childhoods, all speak to how you change, how you show up with your kids. And when I say change, it can be as simple as your energy. It can be as simple as your mindset, the story you're telling yourself. That sounds simple. That is the basis of it all. The thoughts we have create the feelings we feel and how we act in our day-to-day goings on according to how we feel, according to how we've been thinking about something. So the energy we bring, is often based on the thoughts that we're thinking. And are these thoughts conducive to a positive, to a balancing energy, a calming energy, a learning energy, an educational energy, a collaborative energy, an energy where the kids feel supported, where they don't feel judged, where they feel accepted for where they are, who it is they are. So we have to change how we show up in the face of all it is that our kids say and do in any given moment in their lives as kids and in our lives as long as we are responsible for adulting them, for parenting them. So ask yourself, my kid wants independence. They want to be responsible. How can I give them this? What can I pull back on? What are they capable of? What are they not capable of? What do I want them to be capable of? And look at how you can help them build their life skills so that they become capable of more, so they become more responsible, so they become more independent. That's what they want. The problem is with these teenagers and younger ones, the 13 and 14-year-olds in grade 8 and 9, they think they're now the cat's pajamas because they've got into high school and they're with the big kids and they need to be treated like 18-year-olds. They think they're older than they are, but they haven't got the skills to behave like a more responsible and independent 18-year-old. It's up to us to build those skills in them, to parent them in such a way that we build their self-esteem, that we encourage them, that we give them age and stage appropriate responsibilities, that we don't do too much for them. The only way you're going to do that is really watch yourself like a hawk, so that you're seeing what you're doing, that you're creating a lot of the patterns that exist. And we can change the patterns by changing how we show up, changing the energy, changing our language, changing the voice, the words we choose, our body language. Everything comes down to how we show up in any given moment. And unfortunately, their behavior often induces fear in us. When we're fearful, we become reactive. When we're reactive, we crap all over them. They don't feel good about themselves, and they think that we're too strict and we don't give them any freedom. So it's up to us to change how we show up. So if you want to change how you show up, I am about to start my new group cohort for group coaching to revitalize your parenting, change how you are dealing with things, change how you are navigating life in the thick of it with them. It starts on Monday the 12th of April. It will run for 6 weeks. So by the end of it, you'll be all set for the summer. You will be a changed person by the summer. And you will certainly be changing your mindset. You'll be very aware of what works, what doesn't, what you can do more of, and how you can change what you're doing. And in doing that, you're going to strengthen the relationship and the connection you have with your kids. You're going to have way more influence on them. We want to influence them, but the way we try and influence them pushes them away from us. So if you want to influence them and want to stand a chance of them listening to you, you have to show up in a way that they want to listen to. And I sometimes ask myself, would I really have wanted to listen to myself when I was 14 years old? And the answer would be a resounding no way. I'd have walked. So we have to change. If you want to change, join me for the 6-week group coaching program. The link is in the notes, the show notes here on the podcast. So go into Spotify or iTunes or whatever platform you're in. Get to the show notes and you'll get a link. Click on that. It's going to ask you for a $100 deposit as part of the $450 fee for this coaching program. It sounds like a lot. It is priceless. And what investment have you made financially to becoming a better parent, to raising your bar, to doing a better job? I believe I can still be better. I keep myself in it. You will be so accountable in these 6 weeks. You won't get away with anything, but you will be supported through it. You will be with a small group of other like-minded parents who've decided it has to stop now. I have to change the way I'm showing up. I have to change the way I'm parenting. It's not working. We're fighting all the time. There's too much conflict. If this sounds like I've been a fly on the wall in your house, then join me. I'd love to see you in the new cohort. The next one won't start till September, so this is the last one until then. So I really look forward to seeing you there. Email me at louise@yourparentingpartner.com if you have any questions. But all the information you need will be in the link and the page you go to. Thank you so much for listening. I always enjoy recording these. They help me get clarity, and I hope they help you. And till next time, thanks again, and bye for now. That's it for today's episode on the Parenting in the Thick of It show. If you enjoyed the show, please do share it with your friends and family. And remember, if you find yourself stuck in the thick of it and can't see a way out of it, please send me an email. I would love to help you. My email is louise@yourparentingpartner.com. And don't forget to take a look at the Parenting in the Thick of It family organizer that I created. It's an evergreen family calendar guaranteeing 12 months of use from whenever you start. It also includes beautifully illustrated, informative and interactive monthly parenting theme pages to guide you through the year. It's the perfect organiser for busy families to keep track of all their activities, plus help parents be the best parent they can be. It's more than just a calendar. You can find the link for this and the other social media platforms that I am on below the description in this episode. Thank you so much for listening today, and I look forward to being with you all soon. Bye for now.